Hello. Thanks a lot for you for coming and being interested in hearing about Egyptian revolution. Thanks a lot for you. You might be heard some notions yesterday in the two sessions by Gillian and by Solana. Yesterday when I met Marcus, who's one of the organizers, I asked him, Marcus, do you want me to stick to a specific rule when I made my presentation or something? And he said, in a very welcoming attitude, Noha, it's your stage. Do whatever you think should be done. I'm going to abuse the stage and do performances and singing instead of the presentation. But actually I was thinking of doing, going somehow creative. Unlike most of the sessions I have attended, and I guess most of you have attended, it's just we have the questions in the end of the session. But this time, I'm not going to take any questions in the end of the sessions. I'm going to take it in the beginning. So if you please have any question, don't get to the microphone and ask it. But please do tweet it. First, I would like to ask how many of you can access their Twitter accounts here via mobiles? Good number. And if the internet is working, the wireless is working well? I guess no. No. Very good news. Then you will not look at your screens, you will keep looking at me. This is good news. But then, those of you who can access to their tweets, please, if you have any question, tweet it using these post hashtags, Jan 25th, which is the hashtag for the Egyptian Revolution, because the protests started January 25th. And RP11, which is the events hashtag. And then I will take the questions in the end via Twitter. And this is my Twitter name if you want to mention me. Then move to the presentation. Let's start. Well, according to the agenda you have in your hands, I should be speaking on the role of social media and revolutions, or how social media helped the revolution to happen. Then we should ask first, well, were Egyptians using social media before they revolted? And if yes, how they were using it? And if no, how come that in an overnight they have become a very good users of Facebook and Twitter and make the so-called Facebook revolution or so? Yes, the answer for the question, were Egyptians using social media before January 26 would be yes. Well, Egyptians, the whole population is 85 million. Roughly the same number of the German population. But 21 million of them are online. These figures are before the January 25th. 21 million were online. They spend the average of 900 minutes per month on the internet, surfing the internet. And 4.5 million of them are on Facebook. This is the biggest number in the Arab region. The 4.5 million of Facebook users are Egyptians, while on Twitter it's approximately 27,000 only. Well, 21 million would be a good number. However, it just represents almost 17% of the Egyptian population. But it's fascinating how the rest of Egyptians were looking to the internet, how they regard it as Jajini, who would do anything for them. They would ask anything for the internet, and the internet would respond to them. I mean, look to this picture. This is an internet cafe in a very poor neighborhood. Internet in Egypt, by the way, is not that expensive at all. Like an hour for £1, 1 hour £1, and 1 Egyptian pound equal less than 20 cents. If you are comparing to the US dollar. So it's really cheap. And maybe this makes sense that you find internet cafes in the very poor areas, even in the villages, you find them. Because I think that people who are unsatisfied with their lives, they just escape to the virtual world and try to find another alternative life. I would not say they are trying to improve their lives using the internet. This happens recently, but like before, like by the year 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 5, until we have an offline action, mass protests and these things, people were just escaping to the online to find an alternative life to the lives they had been using. By the way, we have 17 million who cannot read or write at all. So it's no way that they get online. But Egyptians have been welcoming the media, I mean the new media. If they are doing anything and they want to be here and they want to broadcast it, they would ask someone to film them, to take pictures of them. They would be very welcoming to this. If they are protesting, if they are even happy, celebrating or anything, and you know that you are a blogger, or you know that you can even log online, they will ask you, okay, picture me and upload it. Will we have it online? And they welcome this. Sometimes even they are doing this themselves. They just pick up their mobile phones, record what's going on, and then they meet you. And you got online, you are a blogger. Then open your Bluetooth. I will share something with you. Put it online. They are very keen to get their word spread. And they do believe that the internet would spread the word, especially that the mainstream media is not that good. I don't mean in Egypt, but like in general. Now we are just talking about before January 25th. Wow. Could you spend only 30 seconds looking very carefully to this picture? Time out. So who would pick me a different? Who found the difference between the two pictures? Great. That's right. This picture was taken in the launch of the recent, peace talks in the United States last September. And you can see Abdullah II, Abu Mazen, Obama, Netanyahu, Mubarak, while in the other photo below you find Mubarak leading the leaders. This picture, the Photoshop picture, was published in the biggest and oldest newspaper in Egypt, Al Ahram. And like it was published like normal, they didn't say this is a Photoshop or something, this very nicely. And then one of the bloggers, he scanned it and wrote a blog post and tweeted it. Then CNN on the same day contacted him, picked on the news, and after CNN, everybody published it, all the mainstream media, it became a scandal. And you know what? This newspaper explained why they made a Photoshop for him. They said this is a symbolic picture. Like you see how Mubarak is very important to the world. So this picture, what I mean by showing this picture is this is an example how mainstream media were trying to manipulate people. And this gives reason for just counting on new media. Then I think now we have answered the question of did Egyptians use social media before the revolution? And again, we have the next question, moving to the next question, which is, did the use of social media help it or pave the way to the revolution? I would say yes. Not because social media is a magic or something, but because usually when we talk about social media, we just look to the digital part of it, like this is the internet, this is a virtual world, this is something that we cannot see. So the unseen is either something we're really scared of, or something we just exaggerate. Exaggerate how it can work. because we doesn't have it in our hands. And I think going to the two extremes is not realistic. Social media is something in the middle. It's just a very powerful tool if you get to understand how it works. And before it's a digital, or before being a virtual thing, social media is a media. I'd say only a few people in this room would argue the role of media in shaping the public opinion. And here we go. The public opinion is the people, and the people is the one who make the revolution. So, of course, social media helped to making a revolution since it's media. Now, you will watch this video. It's with English subtitles. Some help. Are you tweeting? I want to play this video. To go to the previous slide. Yeah, I'm going to play it.
No.
Can we go?
Sorry.
Well, I'm sorry, this is boring for you, I know.
If you can say something 1 minute, and I try to fix it.
Yeah, please. Okay.
No, I mean.
Yeah. So far, can someone volunteer until we fix this problem? Can someone volunteer and read what have been written in these hashtags, the two hashtags, January 25th and RP11? Yeah. No, okay, Michelle will say. Yeah, but nobody seems to be willing to volunteer. Volunteerism is a very good, value, but nobody seems to be volunteering. So you, Michelle, go.
I mean, I don't want to upstage anyone, but there was a tweet from Apropos Nothing. If you're in the audience, you can wave. About whether you trust the military to hand back the power to the people who fought for it.
If the military is giving the power to the people?
Yeah, if you trust the military to do it.
Well, if you have been living for 30 years. I was born. I'm not 30. I'm less than this. If I was born in a dictatorship, I would not trust anybody. Yes, the military doesn't have bad record, but it also doesn't. The fact that the military doesn't have bad record, this doesn't prove that it would be an ideal part to rule the country. So I don't know what the military is going to do. Anyway, the military showed some good intentions by saying, I'm not staying, the military council is not ruling more than 6 months. I'll not stay in power, and they made a package of constitutional changes. At the same time, they are doing some bad things. But I think under the pressure from the people part, they are changing it. This works, try to play. So I think I don't trust them.
شوف أنا بعتبر إن تعبير مصر دولة بوليسية ده تعبير خاطئ.
مفروش بريش تقوى عليه الريح يصبح مفيش عجبي عليك حواليك مخالب كبار.
لأن الوزارة وأجهزة الأمن دي بتقوم بمهام محددة ليها دستوريا والقانون ولا تخرج عن هذه الاختصاصات.
قلعوني وجه امين شرطه ابتدى يصورني على التليفون اللي اسمه رضا فتحي.
رئيس مباحث المنصورة بيدخل كل القرى يقتل في الناس يعذب في الناس وياخد إدارة
كمامة على بقي جيدني لساني جوه بقي طلعته عسدني هي دي الطريقة الوحيدة عشان تسكت شعب ضرب بالرصاص استبعادية صراع وسلوك عصابات تدمير.
الجهاز الامن المصري من اعرق اجهزة الامن في العالم. نعم هذه حقيقة.
الحلوة اللي بقى بالعالم من تحت الصدور وإني بيتعرض للموت كل لحظة
زي البلد الولية حقوق القوى الإنسانية علشان أريح الشوارع
ومع ذلك مش عايزين يحسوا ولا عايزين يفهموا ولا عايزين يسيبوه.
اللي صار والعزيمة لازم ندفع الثمن مفيش حاجة ببلاش احنا قررنا للعجل فاكرني خايف منه لسه مش عارف انه بس التعقيب منه خلاص الناس كانوا ما تتطبق في ايده هو لازم يغري فيه الأسود
هم ما تعلموش الا حمايه الامن امنهم هم امن الحكومه.
بس التعقيب منه خلاص الناس كانوا ما تتطبق في ايده هو لازم يغري فيه الأسود هو وليده ويلك لو مش مفيد.
حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل.
القصاص القصاص القصاص.
So, this video, you find it in it some shocking scenes, and this is really bad to see this. One of the shots was the street, an Egyptian street, full of people in plaque. Those people in plaque are the right police, the right soldiers. So that was normal, that you find police everywhere. You find them, you find like maybe 6 trucks of police in front of each university, in front of each syndicate, in front of each everything. You find them everywhere, just quite normal that you see police. Yeah. So that was shocking, but actually we need, like, if there were people who made this video, who wrote about it, who reported this very bad news, we were not to fight them. So we need this word. That I was trying to do actually since 2006, since late 2006. What happened is that I was reading a report by a local NGO called Women Testimonies in Police Stations. And then this was quite shocking, testimonies of women who were tortured in police station for no charge. They were not charged for everything. But then I tried to make to publish this, make it more public. So I made a blog about it called Torturenet, in which I was just loading it, just put everything related to the torture, the crime of torture committed in Egypt. And this ended with other initiatives like a map for torture crimes, something very interesting called Wikividi. You will find it on Flickr. If you even typed in Google Wikividi, you will find it. It's a photo album for police officers. So you can if you were like beaten by a police man or something, you just go to this home and maybe you find this police officer who have beaten you. We don't identify them, we just put the faces and people should identify. Not all the pictures you find there are for police officers who are charged with torture crimes. But anyway, it's good to have their pictures because if they didn't do it today, they might do it tomorrow. In the blog, we also have audio, like the video you have watched. The music track on it is a song made by one of our friends. He just recorded it at home. And games, it's not. I didn't, of course, did this game. Just was by Amnesty International, and this is what called a torture video. That we put the names of police officers who committed torture and put a record of their crimes. Like if you go to the page of any one of them, you would find his picture if available, if not a symbolic picture, and then a list of the crimes he committed. And these crimes, of course, had hyperlinks. So if you say, like in the year 1999, he tortured a man, then you find a hyperlink takes you to the testimony of this man. Actually, everything is categorized, well categorized. Like you find a page for all the crimes committed in each police station, in each governorate, even by torture techniques. Like you find all crime committed using electricity or something. Since the year 2000. And this is the interactive map I told you about. Like, if you click to Cairo, you will find a window, and this window takes you to the page of Cairo in Torturenet, where you will see all the crimes, torture crimes committed there. And this is Wikividi. Yeah. I'm sorry to show this picture. So I was showing off torture in Egypt.net just to say that the internet have been used, social media have been used in Egypt to tackle such a critical causes and to provoke the anger of people. Like I was angry, I just wanted to spread my anger and provoke the anger of other people. I was angry because torture exists, so I made many others made them angry with the existence of torture. And then you find this man who was killed in Alexandria last July. He was actually beaten to death in the street, and his skull was demolished, like they banged their head to the wall and everything. He was not a political activist or something, he was just an entrepreneur and a normal man. And he was beaten in front of everybody until he was died. This man called Khaled, you maybe heard about him a lot. And if we ever could say that there's someone behind the revolution, Khaled would be one of those. Like if you remember the video you have watched while we have these technical problems, in this video there was a man sodomized. This was quite shocking. This man who was sodomized was an activist neither. He was a microbus driver. And what happened is that his cousin was like, the police officer was unhappy with his cousin, so like this man intervened. The police officer was unhappy with the man, so he took him to the police station, tortured him, sodomized him, and filmed it with his mobile. Like the recording is by the mobile of the police officer, and one of his assistants just shooted it. And then the police officer circulated the video of the man being sodomized. The whole thing happening. He just recorded it, circulated it in a way like to show off his hand. Like, you see, if I'm unhappy with you, I can do it with you. Just to show to the people in the neighborhood how powerful he is. And the black comedy is that both of them were punished. Like the police officer who tortured him was punished, and the victim was punished too. And what was the accusation? Why he was punished? He was punished because he resisted the authorities. So excuse me, when you are tortured, please don't resist the authorities. Otherwise, you will be sent to jail. So the guy, the microbus driver, he might be like, yes, he's Egyptian, he's not political, but then you find this man is almost my age, he's young, and he's almost my level of education, he's almost my social class, like he's an average man. He would be, his death was quite mobilizing to young people in Egypt. And then an act of solidarity was having the famous Facebook page, we are all Khaled Said. We have it in English and in Arabic. The page was created by Wa'il Ghunaim. You of course heard about him. This page got 1,006 fans in English, and in Arabic actually it's more than a million fans. It got more than a million fans. What happened is that Khaled Said was killed in Alexandria, and of course people in his city was quite unhappy with his death, and they protested. But in the time of the internet, the time that when we got social media, you can record the protest, put it on YouTube, and make the whole country watch it. Then when you ask them to go and protest, they will do the same. You know, because reading about something is not like witnessing it, it's not like watching it. But you got to see how many people attending the protest, how many people participating, and what they were chanting. And to feel their passion, like how passionate they are and how pressed they are to punish the one responsible for his death. So social media was used to mobilize people. So first was to make them angry, and then to mobilize them. And to spread the many revolutions. I think most of you would just hear about Egypt either in the context like it's a touristic destination, or I don't know, in the peace process or anything. But maybe most of you haven't known that in Egypt there were lots and lots of mini revolutions before January 25th. If you look to this picture, you would say, this is from Tahrir Square. But no, it was not. This was taken in 2007, like 3 years before, or 4 years before the revolution was happened. And this is actually a ripple strike of one of the factories in a city called Mahalla. This was taken by the guy who was censored by Flickr, Hussam al-Hamalawi. So in only 1 year, between April 2009 and May 2010, you got all these number of sit-ins, strikes, demonstrations, and marches, protest marches. The revolution doesn't happen. The revolutions do not happen in an overnight. It's not just like all of a sudden something happened. Actually, nothing happened all of a sudden. Now I'm revealing one of the most confidential secrets of the Egyptian revolutions. Actually, it's not me who revealing it. It's someone, hopefully the link works. It's someone called Tamer, who was in Tahrir Square, and then he came back, and he decided to call the TV and reveal this very confidential secret. So I wish you pay attention and focus.
البلد اتبهدلت واحنا نبقى فيها، احنا السبب يعني، احنا هنتكتب في التاريخ ان احنا اللي بهدلنا البلد. لا لا والله لا 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 والله لا والله ما احنا.
طب
والله ما احنا والله العظيم.
ارجوك طب اسمح لي من فضلك، بس انت بتقول في انك
Again, so we will play it. Okay. So, Michel, is there any other questions? So Michel is not here. Anyone, if you would volunteer and read a question? Thank you.
So, the question from Virtual Academy is asking, where do you host content? Could you describe your experiences with services? So, with your experience with services to host content. Yeah, the providers.
Well, yesterday, Gillian York gave a very interesting talk about how it works with Facebook, YouTube, Flickr, and other social networks when it comes to the content, what they are going to block, how do you report something, and so on. And Egypt got some examples, of course. What happened is that when these torture videos were leaked, and of course put to YouTube, so just...
They don't see this.
Yeah, I want them to see. Click CC for the translation. Started from the beginning. Stop. Started from the beginning. Stop it. Stop it.
It stopped?
Okay. So sorry. When when these torture videos were leaked and uploaded to YouTube, YouTube just take them, censored them, and said this is very violent, or this is includes some sexual things, so we are taking them down. What happens with the Wikividi is that, you know, that Egyptians stormed state security offices after the revolution, and they got the documents and handed them to the military because state security, like, it's the most scary branch of the police, the branch that used to oppress people, watch everybody. I mean, everybody. Every details, all the details of our lives. So one of the activists, Hussein Hamalawi, he got to get some CDs loaded of pictures of police officers in their uniforms, and he put them online on Flickr, just for people, if they want to identify them, especially that state security was committing torture. So you would find the one who tortured you online, and then you can, like, sue him or do anything with him. That was quite helpful, but once he put it, then Flickr take it off and said, no, you should just publish the pictures that belongs to you, that your own pictures. These are not your own pictures. So yeah, what happened is that I'm not even talking about the blogging platforms. Like there was a blog platform, famous one, called Maktub. Maktub, it's now, I think, Google bought it, Yahoo bought it. So Maktub was just doing whatever it wants. It was a Jordanian company. And it was like sometimes you open your blog and you found, happy birthday, King Abdullah, without even being notified that you will say happy birthday to King Abdullah. So what happened? Yeah, there is a kind of censorship in the name of terms and conditions. So back again to the secret of the Egyptian revolution. It's with English subtitles. I wish you could see it quite well.
استاذ تامر، انا اشكرك شكرا جزيلا وارجو انك تتواصل. شكرا جزيلا وارجو انك تتواصل.
والله معنا والله معنا والله العظيم.
ارجوك طب اسمح لي من فضلك، بس انت بتقول في المجموعات جوه بتحاول انها اللي عنده يعني امكانيه انه يخرج بيحاولوا يمنعوه ويثنوه عن ذلك. المجموعات اللي جوه سواء كانوا مصريين او اجانب، تقدر تميز انتماءات للمصريين دول اللي موجودين او الاجانب دول جنسيات معينه؟
واضحين، هم اجانب بيتكلموا انجلش لانجوج كويس جدا، ما فيش حد بيتكلم غير الانجليزيه جوه. موجودين معانا طول الوقت، بالعكس كانوا بيقوموا يتظاهروا معانا في المطالبات اللي احنا كنا بنطالب بيها، بيقعدوا يعملوا معانا الفلايرز وكل حاجة. لكن جوه اللي بيوجه النداء دلوقتي لزمايلنا اللي موجودين هم مصريين، علشان بكرة اتحط له سلوجن انه يبقى يوم الخلاص. يوم الخلاص مين؟
طيب استاذي يعني انا اقدر لك ده، بس ممكن اطلب منك طلب لو سمحت؟ استاذ تامر من فضلك هطلب منك طلب، وارجو يعني بحق خوفك على هذا الوطن انك تلبيه من فضلك. انت في غمره دلوقتي صح؟ انت في غمره مش كده؟ طيب بينك وبين من فضلك.
انا تعبت عشان اكلمكم يا فندم، مش كل الناس هتتعب بس تكلمكم.
طيب اسمعني بس.
عشان خاطري يا فندم، عشان خاطري انا محتاج تلفزيون.
طيب يا اخي
محتاج المصريين بجد.
استاذ تامر استاذ تامر حضرتك في غمره تمام؟ من فضل حضرتك هطلب منك طلب قدام كل اهل بلدك قدام كل المصريين، يا ريت تشرفنا دلوقتي في قناه النيل من فضلك، نقعد نتكلم مع بعض وكل جديد. ومن فضلك رقم يعني تتواصل مع زمايلنا اللي وصلوك في غرفه التحكم في الكنترول روم.
بتصعبها عليا.
لا مش بصعبها عليك، مش بصعبها عليك من فضلك. ارجوك تشرفنا هنا ونتكلم مع بعض قدام كل الناس، لانه انت حاله جايه من جوه ولازم كلنا نعرف ايه اللي بيدور جوه، لانه معظم الناس الفضائيات الناس كلها مش عارفه ايه اللي بيحصل جوه، واحنا داخلين انت عارف وكل الناس عارفه انه هذه الليله وهذه الظروف هي ظروف دقيقه جدا. عايزين نعرف ايه اللي بيحصل جوه، وعايزين نسمع منك من حد كان جوه، حد غيور على مصر وحد غيور على البلد، وحد حس في لحظه انه اتحط في سياق لم يكن هو السياق المطلوب منه. من فضلك ارجو انك تتقبل هذه الدعوه وتشرفنا. الزملاء في الكنترول روم هينسقوا مع حضرتك دخولك يتم بشكل ازاي.
عشان خاطري حاولوا توصلوا لجوه بكاميراتكم وبالتلفزيون وملايين المصريين بجد. توصلوا لجوه.
استاذ تامر انا اشكرك شكرا جزيلا وارجو انك تتواصل.
So Tamer revealed the big secret is that the revolution or the protests in Tahrir is organized by foreigners who are, oh my God, speaking very good English. So this was just a sample of what state TV, Nile TV was broadcasting over the revolution. And it was like, they were portraying it like a conspiracy is happening. Like the tone was, oh yeah, the people who were protesting in January 25th is good people. They are the Egyptian young people. But then the foreigners or the foreign conspiracy came and they are trying to take over the country. Something like this. Which of course didn't work with people. Because at least people were like comparing what they hear in mainstream media, what they watch in mainstream media to what they see on Twitter, what they see on Facebook. They are trying to get like a kind of image what's going on. And then when the internet was off, the shut off of the internet and mobile services, people who didn't protest, who haven't protested in the beginning, they just knew that there's something serious going on. If they are, because it was the first time in the country, in the history of the country, that you turn off the internet or you stop the mobile service. Mobiles are very important in Egypt. I told you we are 85 million. We have 70 million mobile subscriptions. That means that almost everybody got a mobile, even if he cannot read or write, even if he's an aged person. Almost everyone has a mobile. Sometimes even the children. So when you stop the mobile service, it means that there is something serious going on in the country. Then they were like, let's go let's go to the protesters and check if they are really a part of a foreign conspiracy, if they are Egyptians, really patriotic Egyptians. And then you find this gravity in downtown Cairo, Facebook and Al Jazeera. It's like people want to say, we like this, we want this, because there was like jamming, Egyptian regime jammed signals of Al Jazeera, and Facebook, of course, was blocked, and the internet was shut off. So people was like, we want our words to be here, so we want Facebook. Twitter as well, and these pictures, we need internet, who's afraid of Twitter? Well, then we are now talking about the role of social media in the revolution. However, the internet was not accessible to people. They were trying to, like in Tahrir Square, there was a tent, and people were just going around the square, recording what's happening, and then going to the tent, put everything in computers, and then back again to that protest, filming what's happening. They don't have internet access, but they were just like compiling all the videos, everything, because they want to archive what's happening. It was not only in Tahrir, across the country, wherever you find a protest, people were trying to archive it, to document it, even if they don't have the internet, because one day they will have internet and they will upload it. They will. People actually were feeling like this is a part of our history, and then we should archive it, we should keep it. This one of the things is that one of the initiatives to document the revolution, those are the slogans that people were using. So it was like if you were protesting today, or if you heard any chant or a slogan, just write it online. Then we have it somewhere on the web. That was a great way to spread the word. Also, I was in Tahrir. So if you were in Tahrir, you just go to this map and write your name. So it's kind of like we got the names of people who were in Tahrir. It's for no use actually, but it's like, I'm proud I was in Tahrir. And it's good to have your name and such things. So all these small spots are people who registered. Then it made all sense that after the revolution, you find the internet usage is increasing. We still, actually, sorry, it's not 58, it's 85 million. We were 21 million online. Today, we are 23. And we were spending 900 minutes online per month, the average. It doubled. It went double. We are spending 1,800 minutes. And there are more than 5 million Egyptians on Facebook. And Twitter, like, yeah, almost double, 45,000 Twitter users. This picture actually was taken from Tahrir Square. People are trying to charge their mobile phones, their laptops, everything. They got electricity from, I don't know why, how they got it, but they got it from the public electricity boxes and something, and they made this, they invented some small things that they can use electricity and charge their mobiles, because of course there were loads and loads of mobiles in the square. And they were like watching, this guy was watching Al Jazeera, maybe the other guy was watching something else, or he was blogging or tweeting, I don't know. And the injured guy was charging his mobile. So people were willing to be connected and to update the web. If you Google 3 social media stories from the Egyptian Revolution, you will find some interesting and funny stories, 3 stories. One is called The Man Behind Omar Slimane. The second is, this second one, the jersey of the Prime Minister. Actually, this is an interesting and powerful story, ended with a resignation of the Prime Minister. This one was appointed by Mubarak, and what happened is that people, instead of attacking him, they were attacking his jersey, his clothes. and they were attacking like very heavily his pullover, his jersey. So it ended with his resignation. And then the last story is, we are devastated. My niece is craving pizza. You would Google it and find it. So to sum up, before we got the questions, social media have been used in Egypt before the revolution, in the revolution, and after the revolution. Social media didn't create the Egyptian revolution or any other revolutions. People do create it. People do revolt. Social media is just a tool, a very powerful tool. If you got to understand how it works, there are, like, Facebook is available in almost everywhere, and Twitter is available everywhere. But we didn't find revolutions everywhere, because it all counts on the people. Revolution is not an easy thing. It's not like we overthrow a dictator, or we just stay in the street, strike on the street or something. It's a set of emotions, actions, plans, creativity. It's a package of many things. And I don't think social media has these emotions, has this determination, has a will, has a hope. I don't think social media, however, it's quite powerful, I admit, but it's not human. The human being is the most powerful creature, and then nothing called social media revolution. People are revolting, and if we got to understand how to use the tools, the available tools, we will really make a change. Time for questions? Thank you. Thank you. So I'm curious to know, did anyone tweeted any question? So who would volunteer and check the Twitter hashtags? Michelle.
Well, I wanted to give other people a chance. I know you wanted some audience interaction if other people wanted to read the tweets that were sent.
Okay, who would volunteer?
This microphone works.
Okay, here's a question from Pfandtasse. What happens to charges submitted to Wikipedia and Torture database? Possible to verify them and take further action? Is the question.
What happens to the database?
What happens to charges submitted to Wikipedia and Torture database? So if, like, the police comes and says, like, what the heck are you doing here? What happens to those charges?
Okay, when we put a picture on Wikividi, actually Wikividi doesn't work like me is uploading picture or my friends Sam, Omar, Amr are uploading. It's just open for everybody. Like, what happened actually is that I have some pictures. Well, in a protest, police officers have their photographer and they take pictures of the activists. So some of us were like taking pictures back. So I have some pictures, my friends, everyone have some pictures. So the idea was, why we make all these pictures available and invite people to upload their pictures if they have any. And if they don't have, why don't they go to the pictures that exist already and try to identify, and maybe they recognize someone. So not every police officer in Wikividi is charged of torture. Some are charged and some are sentenced already, and some are not. And not all the content is uploaded by us. We got around like 150 members, and we got roughly 500 pictures. So it's people who are uploading it. So far, it didn't happen. It hasn't happened yet that you find that a victim recognized the man who tortured him through Wikipedia, but it would happen one day.
Okay, next question is from Christian Meisenberg. He asks, how dangerous was it to collect this evidence? Like, what was the danger for you personally or for the people who took the pictures? Was it dangerous for them? Were they threatened by the police?
I cannot give a definite answer because I told you there are a lot of people who took the pictures, but actually it's not very difficult to take a picture of a police officer. Some of them actually took the picture with their mobiles, like they are at distance and then they took it. The police officer didn't notice that they are picturing him, and some others take it, just take it, and that's all. And some others like took it, and the police officer appeared in the part, and they cropped it. But like for me, I have a very easy technique. Just I spot the police officer, I look at him, smile, he looks at me, smile back, I picture him smiling. And it's not that difficult. It's not that difficult, and you know what? It's like, well, it's one of the privilege of a picture that you cannot look for your pictures. I mean, if you are a police officer, it's easy that you Google your name, then you find a text about you. But it's not very likely that you find a picture about you. Google will not recognize it unless you are like, your picture is really popular. Then it will be shown in Google Images. So people who publish texts about police officer, then they got intimidated. No way. But regarding pictures, in terms of pictures, I don't think police officer would even know that their pictures are online.
So, and while I'm standing here, I use the chance to ask a question I have. The website you got online there wouldn't be online in Germany for longer than, let's say, a week until police will close it down, because we got rights concerning the rights of the officers, and this just wouldn't be possible. Is this website hosted in Egypt or is it hosted somewhere else?
Hosted in Egypt, actually. And you might be like, I'm not sure, but sometimes these days, I mean, if you try to log it, we sometimes turn it off because we are trying to move to another server, another Egyptian server, but like bigger. But yeah, it's hosted in Egypt. So far, it's in Egypt. But if you're talking about the blocking or why they keep this website online, in Egypt, the Mubarak regime tend not to block the websites because, like, you know, he was very careful of how he looks in the eyes of the Western people and the Americans, and he doesn't want to be like, he's always was described like the liberal, democratic, moderate, fantastic guy. So the much easier solution was like, let's block the person, or let's arrest him. So that's what's happening, that you are intimidated, you are threatened, or you are taken, arrested, and disappeared. That was happening very commonly. Like, just to remind you, of course, I would say most of you heard about Michael Nabil, who was sentenced with 3 years after being after being sued in a military court. But actually, Michael is not the first blogger, not the first Egyptian blogger who was sentenced or sent to a military course. In only 1 year, the year 2009, there was more than 100 bloggers in Egypt just arrested or taken illegally. So there were a lot of harassment. And after the year 2000, actually, there was what we tend to call Internet Police, which is an administrative unit in the Ministry of Interior to monitor the Internet. And when we stormed state security offices, we find like emails, your emails are printed off, available, everything. All your online activities are monitored. So this was the way to do it in the backstage, not in the stage.
So thank you so much to our question reader and question poster, and thanks so much to our speaker, Noha. It was a very entertaining talk.
Thanks for coming.